Tennessee State University, and the topic is President Obama's energy policy. Dr. Sharp, let's allow you to continue that excellent explanation you were giving us in reference to some of the choices that are out there, and to pick up and inform us further.
Right. There are actually 4 other key elements of the Obama energy plan. And the other one talks about putting in place 1 million plug-in hybrid cars on the road by 2015. And the other thing they want to do is to establish a national, what they call national low carbon fuel standard. Right now in this country, if you look at the amount of carbon that's emitted, the state of California is the only one that has such a standard in place. And so some of the other countries around the world are also trying to put in place the same kind of a standard. So we haven't gotten there yet. We want to boost the efficiency of our anything that we operate, for example, that's related to energy. Our refrigerators, our dishwashers,
the washing
our homes
machines,
itself, everything. We want to boost that. And then the other thing they want to do is weatherize 1 million homes a year. That's our intent, to weatherize 1 million homes a year. And then they want to develop and deploy what they call clean coal technology. And that's an important issue for the Obama administration. And then the last but not least is they want to address climate change, because they believe that climate change or the emissions that we have in this atmosphere are causing our climate to change drastically. And so those are the key components of this plan.
Well, let me raise a question in reference to what I'd like to, do you have any additional information with the weatherization project there? Say something in reference to that, what that means in terms of the people of you understand what we're saying?
Weatherization, first of all, has been around for a long time. Even as a student when I was at North Carolina A&T in the early 70s, we had a couple of projects funded by the Department of Energy to weatherize homes. And so in actuality, what we would do was go in and have them to actually track the temperature of their homes, and we would go in and kind of put insulation around the doors, around the windows, and all those kinds of things. So those are the key components of any weatherization program, to make sure that your windows are set up so that you don't lose a lot of heat outside the windows. A lot of times when you open the door and if you put a little candle at the base of the door, you see the candle blow out. That means then that wind is coming in, and so you're losing energy through that door as well. So those are the specific things that's included in the weatherization program.
Now, do you think now, do you see any place there where people can be put to work? And I think you mentioned something about over 10 years.
Okay, let me talk about, first of all, what the president done so far as relates to that. And what I want to talk about is some of the progress that has been made. And the first thing that I want to talk about is the stimulus funding. If you think about the stimulus money that we have, a lot of that was geared towards helping the economy. And there's some basic things that has been done. And then the president did a couple other things as well. He basically, they instructed the Department of Energy to look at ways of increasing efficiency through the Department of Energy. And then last but not least, there are a couple other things that the president has done. And the other thing that he did really was to get, to try to put in place a treaty so that we can track the total amount of emissions that come out into the atmosphere on an annual basis. But let's talk about the funds that are in place through what they call the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which is a stimulus money. So we're talking about $60 billion that's going into that. And so in most cases, what we're talking about is making sure that the electrical grid that we have is better than what it is right now. If you think about the electrical grid, you know, most of the grid, the electricity that's generated is outside the cities, but you got to try to figure out how to get that energy to the cities. And so you want to make that smarter, better, and better than what we have right now. What we talked about was putting in place this weatherization project. The stimulus money put in place $5 billion for low-income home weatherization projects. They talked about $4.5 billion to green federal buildings and to cut energy bill. And $6.3 billion for state and local renewable energy and energy efficiency projects. So
these things have already been
These things
underway.
are already underway through the stimulus funds. They're talking about a training program to get people trained to be able to do these kinds of things. So they put in place $100 million to expand training programs in general, and $500 million, $500 million for green workforce training. So these are specific things that the president has done. Now, I will say this. The president, as I see it, the focus and the basic principle behind what he's trying to do is that his goal, I think, is to try to get all of the American people to buy into these things. When you start talking about change, change doesn't come easy. Our vehicles that we drive today, I mean, it's easy because I can go down the road to a service station, pump some gas, and I'm on my way. There's a network of things that are in place to ensure that I can easily get gas in my vehicle. Now, if I start going to a hybrid vehicle, for example, electric vehicles, how do I get energy? How do I get electricity? Is there a big enough battery? How do I get that battery restored on an annual basis, regular basis? So those are the kind of issues that we have to address as it relates to any new energy plan or policy. And as we change things, it's important for us to think about our overall infrastructure, because that infrastructure has to be put in place as well.
Good.
So the president, I believe, is excited about all these kind of things, and I'm excited about these things. And I will say that at Tennessee State University, we're involved in some of these kinds of projects. Our faculty are involved in energy projects on a regular basis, especially in our college